Hello, I'm Pagan Elements, or just Elements if you prefer, and today we're playing Final Fantasy V. But not just any Final Fantasy V, Final Fantasy V 4 Job Fiesta. What's 4 Job Fiesta, you might ask, sounding unnervingly excited. It's an annual charity event based around a playthrough of 5 with some self-implied restrictions, something akin to a Pokemon Nuzlocke. What's a Nuzlocke, you might ask, with measured constraint, self-conscious after my earlier criticism of your outburst. It doesn't matter. You don't need to know. If anyone asks you what a Nuzlocke is, just counter by asking if they know what a 4-Job Fiesta is. And when they don't, you will have successfully defended your gamer credibility. Unless, of course, they do know what a 4-Job Fiesta is, in which case you'll grow even more self-conscious as your friends sneer at your apparent casual gamer status, mocking you until you wonder why you were even friends with such a jerk in the first place, like them, before you slowly realize that they've always been a jerk, and that your entire friendship has been a one-sided waste of, hey, let's get back on track. There are many variants of the 4-Job Fiesta, but the main effect of it is that you're limited in the jobs you're able to use on your playthrough of the game. FF5 uses a job system like some Final Fantasies. What's a job system, you might ask? A poignant question in our current economy. A job in Final Fantasy is when a crystal grants you a class like those in your standard tabletop RPG, like Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, Chivalry and Sorcery, Tunnels and Trolls, Vampire Changing, Mage, GURPS, Rifts, Call of Cthulhu, Tales of Equestria, Shadowrun, Cyberpunk, MechWarrior, or Monopoly. The best class in Monopoly is Top Hat, by the way. The Charisma buffs are OP. Anyways, yeah, a lot of those TRPGs don't actually have classes in them. Shut up. If you know so much about it, then why did you even ask? Jobs in Final Fantasy consist of things like White Mage, wielder of curative magics, Black Mage, wielder of destructive magics, Blue Mage, magic school dropout that dresses like a superhero, Fighter who fights, Mime who mimes and terrifies, Thief who steals money, Samurai who kills for money, Dancer who seduces enemies, Beastmaster who enslaves enemies, Chemist who makes drugs to use on enemies. Wait, why are we even sure we're the good guys here? Who thought it was a good idea to make a game about a bunch of vagabonds getting some crystal then turning into lives of crime as they search for more crystal? Let's get back on track. FF5, oh, hold on, break for Hiryu / Windrake. So majestic. Alright, anyways, yeah, FF5 has a pretty good implementation of the job system. The longer you hold the job, the more skills you permanently learn from it. Then when you change jobs, you can use those old skills on your new jobs for that sweet and suspiciously satisfying skill set synergy, creating powerful and ironic combinations like a berserker that knows pharmacology, or a wizard that knows how to flirt. Normally, you spend the whole of the game in different jobs to hone a well-rounded and complementary set of skills that ensure you have the most desirable resume in the land and are well-equipped to save the world by killing a tree. It's a really bad tree. But the 4-Job Fiesta puts an end to all of that nonsense. You're locked in dead-end jobs the whole way through without the slightest hope of upwards mobility and not even a decent benefits package. And like I said, there's many variants of the Fiesta, and the version I'll be running is the regular version, in which you get one job from each of the game's 4 crystals, hence the 4-job portion of the title. Once you unlock the jobs, you can only use those 4 and no others. In the past, I've played a Fiesta variant called Natural, in which you have an extra restriction in which each character can only use one of the 4 jobs, instead of everyone having access to all of them. So it gives you a slight early benefit in that the early characters get to remain jobless longer, giving them the freedom of equipment and life choices until they're inevitably timed down by their employment. But I never ended up finishing those runs, so I'm just going to go with a vanilla Fiesta this year in hopes that I actually finish it. I've talked over most of this intro, but all you really need to know is that nature is stopping. The wind stopped. There, see? No big. And look at this. We got an old man inside I don't know what it is. I'm not going to spoil that for you. Yes, the wind stopped. We got that. This is our cast. Most Final Fantasies have a pretty large, sprawling cast. In the early days, though, they usually had very small casts, as in one party's worth. That's how it was in... Actually, now that I think about it, the only games that did that were 1, 3, and this one. You see there are Crystal, with that sweet vinage growing out of it. I have always adored that sprite work. Oh, and there's Reyna's dad. While I was talking over him, he was fleeing to go check on this crystal. He is too late. That shit is shattered. Oh, look at them jobs flying everywhere. And with that, our intro is complete, and we get to meet our protag, who you would not suspect as he comes on screen, with surprisingly boring brown hair. Where is the spiky Technicolor nightmare we've come to expect from our pro-tags? But he got a sweet bird with him, so that's cool. I guess that's the only really benefit of Bart's is that he comes with a free chocobo attached. Alright, and here's where our story starts proper. With a rumbling and a tumbling from the sky, it is BTO. Sephiroth already got the black materia, and he is not wasting any time. You played FF7, you thought it was a great game, and spent the whole time working up to this? Nope, FF5, the very first instant. Look at that sweet Mode 7 graphics, oh my god. Bart's, never the plucky adventurer, has decided that if a giant meteor crashes into the land, tearing a giant trench across the valley, you should run to it. Alright, and here we are on the world map. We start the game with a chocobo, and no combat till we had, nowhere to go except where the game wants me to go. It's just FF13 all over again. What happened to FF1, where the game starts, you take 2 steps, then get stomped by a group of imps. Imps are dicks. Then you hike to a temple, you get knocked down, you cross a bridge, you get stomped by a group of grimps, because imps are always dicks. Or FF2, where the game starts and you die. Because you're supposed to. Then you leave town, head south, and then you die again, because the game is a dick. I tell you what, back in my day, we had to walk 2 dungeons in the snow, leveling up both ways, usually because some asshat lich drained our levels while we were in the dungeon. I'm kidding, obviously this intro is fine, but you know what RPG had a good first intro? Mother 1. Try to leave your room when a freaking table lamp attacks you. That makes an impression. I destroy all table lamps on site now, both for fear that they're possessed and so that my dad will put money in my bank account. I think that's why he puts it there anyways. Speaking of dads that are phones, I called it because slap me silly if it ain't a bunch of imps up to some dickery right before my tiny 2-pixel eyes. Imps. I don't know why I made that noise, but I do know why I'm killing these Lannisters. Wait, why am I killing them? Parts here was just saw them carrying an unconscious girl. Maybe they were helping her. Maybe they were taking her to their Fairy Glen hospital to meet Titania. Maybe there's a reason Boops is all alone in the wilderness with no human companions. Maybe. He's just racist. Speciesist. Well, anyways, did he just assume their alignment? This game is problematic. Anyways, they're dead now. Water under the bridge. Oh, and, yeah, so, in this version he's Butts. Usually they call him Bart's, you know, because it doesn't sound like a posterior. I always feel tempted to use these weird, like, double E characters in the games that have them. But no, I've decided he's been Bart's, he's been Butts. I've decided ahead of time he's going to be Boops, but we'll keep the Z. Butts has a Z, Bart's has a Z, Boops should have a Z. Okay, anyways, after that excitement, I think it's time to calm down a bit. Here we have Princess Serena introducing herself to us. Or Lena in this version. In case you haven't noticed, there's several different translations. I've beaten the PlayStation version before on Final Fantasy Anthology. The first version I played was this version, which was the fan translation that was done in emulation of the Famicom game before this game had a proper English release. I also have the game on GBA and on iOS. I have played through the bulk of it on both of them, both on 4 Job Fiesta runs that I did not finish because I was running #natural. But this time I figured since I'd played plenty of those, it was time to get back to Super Nintendo and play this version. By the way, this meteor, if you have ever played the iOS version, stare at this meteor. It is a tragedy what they did to it. HD texture pack fail, hardcore. Anyways, here our traveler Boops has met up with this girl, and as they're about to head out together, they find an old man passed out drunk on the side of a meteor, as old drunken men tend to do. It seems appropriate that I brought up Mother, because this is feeling very Mother 2-ish right now. Anyways, oh wow, this old man has amnesia. Or Alzheimer's? I was giving this game such a hard time, but I can't think of any other video game that tackles that issue. The early onset of dementia is a serious topic, and with ageism running rampant, it's surprising and refreshing to see such a classic game addressing it respectfully. The previous game, Final Fantasy IV, it had an old character, Tella, whose stats actually got lower and worse every time he leveled up. That is just disgustingly disrespectful to the elderly. The only thing that could be worse would be if being old was just depicted as an actual status ailment. Now that would be problematic. Hashtag triggered. Hashtag Gunblade. Hashtag use timed hits for maximum damage. Hashtag long hashtags are so funny right now. LMAO YOLO 420 swag. Hashtag please validate me. Hashtag by supporting my Patreon. Hashtag like and subscribe. Hashtag please like me. Like me. This post is too long. Please reduce to 140 characters or less. Shit! Now Gilgabot Senpai will never notice me. Alright, anyways. Let's get back on track. So, you may have noticed the one bad side of me trying to roll with the Super Famicom fan translation of this game is that I have no run button and no diagonal movement. So there's going to be some slow moments. It's going to drag things out a bit. We got a chocobo that will help us for the first like 10 minutes of the game. Spoilers. Not 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Alright. I know we're heading on, and Boop should have installed a seatbelt on his chocobro. Work. In conquest. Blah, blah, blah. In contrast to the later que. Here's Boops being ageist and sexist. He can handle them, but the girl and the old man can't, although to be fair, all he has seen is the girl get kidnapped and the old man passed out drunk. Anyways, the ground's caving in, so maybe we should put that on hold while we get attacked by more imps! They call them goblins here, but we know what they are. You know, I've never actually played through the Japanese version of FF1 or looked into it much, but I'm pretty sure that the imps in it were probably called goblins in the Japanese version. Seeing as how everything that looks like FF1 imps in every other Final Fantasy game is called goblins. Alright, anyways, second verse same as the first. Those imps went down super easy. And here's a second pair, much of the same. Not much to do here. Actually, not much to do in much of the early game. It's just going to be a lot of mash and A. A lot of fight. To quote Titus from FF10. Fight. Oh, here's Boko eating the woman in the elderly to gain their power. Now he can use Chocomog. Anyways, that's 3 lives saved in almost as many minutes. That's a bang-up job, Boops. I mean, if that doesn't say pro tag, then I don't know which animes you've been watching. Probably some that are actually good. Alright, looks like we got everyone waking up here. And Boops is... Oh. Okay, so this always seemed really weird to me. I mean, I have very mixed feelings about it, but Final Fantasy games don't generally tend to have themes carry over between the games outside of, you know, the Prelude and Final Fantasy, you know, the Prelude being the dun 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 dun. I messed that up a little. Anyways, or the Final Fantasy theme, which, you know, is the... I'm not gonna bother to do that one, but the do 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 do. I'd bother doing it. Anyways, but here we have Rose's theme from FF4 reused. And normally I would be hyper psyched about a song being reused in Final Fantasy. I always wanted them to do that more. But when I finally got around to playing this one and saw they reused this song, it seemed wrong to me just because it was a character theme. I mean, I know that was the name of the song, and it did play it every time Rosa was there, but I don't think it played it for any other, like, sad or romantic moments, though it might have, I don't know. Anyways, if you're going to reuse a song, I feel like it should be something a little more generic than something that's associated with a character. Anyways, so at this point our ragtag groups decided that they're all going to team up, which means that Bartz is going to carry this old man and this dainty princess. Although fortunately they do seem to have equipped themselves. I don't know how they're equally capable as Boops in this upcoming dungeon when they couldn't handle a couple of imps before, but you know, whatever, we'll give them a pass. Maybe they were just caught off guard. And here we abandon our chocobo. It will be a long time till we have him again. Stay safe, Boko. Stay golden. And here we have our first dungeon. That's very tutorial dungeon-y. Nope. And here's our first fight. We are fighting some crabs. Dear, oh god, there are crabs, dear. You can see here, actually, you know what? Never mind. I take it back, Galef. I understand now why you were being killed at every turn. And of course, you know, it does seem like Bartz is better than him. Like Bartz is better than the others here, but that's really just because of his equipment. But I'm not going to bother really checking that out. I mean, we'll get better equipment soon enough. But here's a spring, dip in the water, spring of recovery, everything restored. HP, MP stat, wounded, which is dead, pretty much. So you have your nice spot to heal if you, like, for some reason are having a hard time in this dungeon. Believe it or not, I'm pretty sure that I have friends that would stop and grind in this dungeon. You know, some people play RPGs and their idea is, if it's not easy, something's wrong. For me, I always want it to be kind of hard, so I tend to prefer to be a little underleveled. It makes it more strategic. Unless the game's just badly designed, then you're just stuck dealing with grinding nonstop. Here's our next fight. We have some stropers, not to be confused with strippers, and a steel bat, which would be a weapon in Mother, but here it is just an enemy. Caleb and that stroper are going like 1-to-1. If you're to really decide at this point how I'm probably going to cut up this Let's Play, we'll kind of decide as we go on. Oh, first level ups of the game. But by that I mean, oh, another helmet. Well, Lana has the least HP, so we'll give it to her. But anyways, as I was saying, I'm sure these fights will eventually get pretty boring, so at some point I'll probably start cutting them out. Probably at the point where I get sick of talking, which, as you may have noticed, I tend to like to do that a pretty good bit. I am doing it and probably will not stop for a long time. I stopped. Sorry. Anyways, let's get back on topic with FF5 a little bit more. I just kind of want to give my general opinions on it a little bit. I've played pretty much all of Final Fantasies. I'm pretty much an expert. That was said very sarcastically, by the way. Anyways, I'm not an expert by any means. But 5, I know it's a very popular one among people that are like super into the series, which I guess I consider myself to be, but I have not played it that much, and I'm not really sure why that is. I guess because usually what makes me go back to playing an old FF game is thinking of the moments that really stand out in it to me, and FF5 is really not that kind of game. It's like a system game. It's a game you play because you love the system. Or other music, it could be that too. FF5 has a really weird soundtrack for Uematsu, but if I want to play a game with system when mixing jobs, I'll probably go with Etrian Odyssey rather than this. I mean, but you know, it's for charity, so what the hey? And I'm due for another play. It feels odd to me that I've only beaten it once, and it always bothered me and seems so strange to me that they get those question mark bubbles over their head. Does any other Final Fantasy do that? Just every time I see those things pop up over their heads, I feel like I'm playing an RPG Maker game, and that does not make me feel happy. Oh. Yo-ho-ho and a bottle of Captain Morgan. Alright, so here we are. If in the pirate hideout, they kind of give it away with the skull, crossbones, and the cross swords. They're really into the fact that they are pirates, so much that it is legally required that every single one of them wear a bandana. Yes, here's the old man. He wants to sneak on the ship. Bart thinks he's daring, but the old man really just doesn't have anything else left to live for, so why not? He is a thrill seeker. As you get older and older, either you get sleepier and sleepier, or you become more and more insane and psychotic and dangerous to those around you. That was a joke. Mostly. Yes, here's the boat. I don't actually remember if there's anything below deck here. I'm going to sneeze. One moment. I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so here we are below deck. There's a man. He is sleeping. It might look like he's just eating his arms, or perhaps cupping some quinoa in his elbows and gnawing on it. But nope, he's sleeping. And a mysterious mention of Sildra. It's kind of hard for me to imagine that most people would come down here and see that. I feel like if you're going to put Easter eggs below deck, you should have put better Easter eggs below deck. Well, I guess the stairs are right in front of the bridge. Maybe a lot of people would go there first to get into the steering wheel. It actually doesn't stand out that much now that I'm here. And we're trying to go. Oops, you left the e-brake on, by which I mean the giant anchor. You know, just turn the wheel. You know, you're not gonna hoist the anchor, batten the main sails, whatever, boat things. Lena is a tycoon princess, rich twice over. Anyways, and here we have Ferris, which is our last member of the party, which, you know, spoilers, but I mean, she was really the only other one shown in the intro, so that's pretty much a giveaway. By the way, every time I say spoilers, it is going to be very sarcastic. I assume you are very spoiled on this game if you're watching this. If not, then either you don't care about spoilers or you're going to be in for a bad time. Just heads up, that's your only warning. If you're jumping in a later episode, then, well, I don't know, that's your fault for jumping in the middle of it. If you jump in the middle of a story, then you probably don't care about spoilers, so I feel validated in pretty much all fronts on that. We are captured and tied up, and I don't know what it is about those sprites, but they look really cute. Oh, especially when they hop. Oh my god. Indeed, Boops. Boops is so tied up he can't even boop his nostril. Wow, that is the longest bit of silence I've had. Sorry, I was actually caught up in the dialogue for a bit. I'm only half paying attention to it because I'm pretty familiar with the story and the broad strokes. And by the way, the story only really has broad strokes. There's not much subtlety to it. You know, at this point, it's revealed that Ferris and, you know, Lena has a pendant. Ferris has the same pendant. Why could that be? Whatever is the most obvious excuse for that, that's what it is. That's pretty much how this game goes most of the way through. I mean, I guess it starts throwing you a few curveballs later on when when we start having evil wizards fighting turtles in subterranean caves. But you know, so we'll look forward to that. It always bothered me how it seemed like they were just like pogoing their way while still tied up out of the lower decks when they weren't supposed to, and everyone's just kind of chill with it. I mean, I would be too, honestly. Being a pirate, you probably get pretty good entertainment out of that. And here we have Ferris has decided to ally herself with us because she wants to meet her daddy. Aye, aye, sir. Okay, in just a moment we may actually get to have some gameplay. You know, I gotta be honest, this game does have kind of the worst opening of any of the 16-bit Final Fantasies. You know, 4 had the introduction of Mode 7, it had that whole, like, Red Wing segment where you're like, the bad guy, and then once you stop, as soon as you get back from your mission, you have your debriefing, then you try to go to bed, and your girlfriend comes to your room and cries to you about it, and then you meet up with your rival / best friend, and you both march out together to the Prelude. It's all really sweet. And then 6, of course, has the big, like, Magitech armor marching through snow in Mode 7 scene, and there is a Sildra. Break for Sildra. That is so cute. I legit think that's super duper cute. But yeah, 5 really just has Hiryu and Sildra. I mean, I guess it has Bart's riding on a chocobo while it plays the credits. I mean, it's kind of weak. But again, I mean, I guess the other ones are intros that tie into the stories, and this one doesn't really do that. And oh my god, we have a boat. Let's get out of here. No, the game says. Watch more things. In fact, this man actively says, do you want me to keep playing the game for you? No. You can go straight to the X Zone. And it's because he wants to take me to the Wind Shrine. I don't want to go to the Wind Shrine, and I don't want to go here either. I'm going to go to town and get some proper equipment for this party. Yeah, let's do that. I was thinking about saving, but we'll wait till after we do this. Beer. I'm too used to the iOS port where they say mead. Is that what they say? I believe so. Oh, here's the straggler. Yeah, you get in there. You load up. I personally think that they are all a bunch of alcoholic fiends.